Welcome back. You're still watching Every Primetime News. Now, the Senate Public Accounts Committee wants Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i held accountable for controversial Ruaraka land transactions. The committee wants the minister investigated alongside Education Principal Secretary Bellius Kipsang. Also in the report to be investigated is National Lands Commission Chair Mohammed Swazuri.
The Senate committee investigating the Ruaraka land probe finally tabled its report before the House, calling for investigation of CS Fred Matiang'i and PS Education Bellius Kipsang over their involvement in the Ruaraka land saga. The senators called for the investigation of the two on Wednesday, saying the two should be probed in 3 months.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Sessional Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments on the inquiry into possible loss of funds through acquisition of land LR number 78794 part by the National Lands Commission for use by 2 public schools, Ruaraka High School and Drive-In Primary School, Nairobi County, laid on the table of the Senate today, Wednesday, 8th of August 2018. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
If found culpable, the two will be barred from holding public office. The 13.7-acre piece of land neighbors GSU headquarters, De La Rue, and the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, when he was the then Minister for Education, and PS Education Bellius Kipsang disregarded the ministry's internal report on authorizing 1.5 billion shillings payment for the property. Fresh documents tabled in Parliament showed that a team appointed by the Ministry of Education to investigate the land's ownership concluded that the parcel occupied by the Ruaraka High School and the Drive-In Primary School was public. The report by the Quality Assurance and Standards Task Force was submitted to Matiang'i and Kipsang on February 3, 2017, 11 months before the duo approved the payment of 1.5 billion shillings to the city businessman Francis Mburu.
Who is invisible, that is the owner of the land. Where is he?
All right, now it is a sad day for Kenya and the world of sports especially, because former 400 meters hurdles world champion Nicholas Bett has died in a road accident in Lesos, Nandi County. As our own Davis Mberia narrates, Bett died on the spot after the car he was driving veered off the road and landed in a ditch near Lesos along Eldoret Kapsabet Road today morning.
The sports fraternity is mourning the demise of Nicholas Bett, the 2015 World 400-meter hurdles champion who died this morning in a grisly road accident in Lesos, Nandi County. According to reports, Bett was traveling to see a friend before his vehicle hit a bump and rolled several times. The tragedy occurred barely 48 hours after returning to the country from Asaba, Nigeria, where he represented the country in the 400-meter hurdles, a race he did not finish due to injury. Nandi Police Commander Patrick Wambani confirmed that Bett died after his car veered off the road and landed in a ditch on the Lesos Eldoret Road.
Ilikuwa mwendo wa saa 12:30 wakati nilisikia sauti ya gari ikigonga kwa barabara. Alafu ikagonga mara 2 na kunyamaza. Nikajua kuna jambo imefanyika hapo.
Ilikuwa 6:30 nilipoamka. Nikasikia mlio ya gari. Nikaamuka na nikakimbia, nikaacha kila kitu na nikakimbia. Kuona ni gari imeanguka. Kufika hapo nikakuta mtu ametupwa nje. Hiyo gari iliroll kuanzia Bamis mpaka hapo mahali aliangusha mtu. Na nikastuka hata nikashindwa kupiga nduru, nikashika kichwa tu, kushindwa nitasema nini.
Kenyans, including government officials, took to social media to condole with the fallen champion's family, expressing how he was a very valuable asset in the sports fraternity in the country.
Sad indeed, we do mourn. As Every TV, we are mourning with the family and friends of Nicholas Bett and the country at large. May he rest in peace. A court has jailed Daudin Zomo, the man who was captured brutally assaulting his wife for 12 years. Makueni Magistrate James Reneki ruled that Zomo will serve 10 years in prison and the remaining 2 under probation. The sentence came after the court was told that this was not his first offense and what previous incidents were settled by area chief. According to an uncle, Daud Nzomo also chased his family from their home in 2016, threatening to beat them up. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi has stressed the need of having a vibrant opposition in the country. Mudavadi says that in as much as he supports unity and tolerance among all political players, a vibrant opposition is key in ensuring that the government of the day is held into account. He says the country is facing deep issues that ought to be dealt with rationally. And Alan Ochanda has the rest of the story for us.
Since NASA leader Raila Odinga met President Uhuru Kenyatta under the handshake arrangement, there has been the notion that the opposition was strangled. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who has been a key opposition stalwart, however, insists the opposition is significant for the country.
By the way, there are some people who are thinking that if you're in opposition, you're not patriotic. You know, it's beginning to grow. Watu wanasema, wewe uko upande gani? Akisikia uko opposition anasema, oh, you're not patriotic. My friend, why was the constitution created? Opposition is an integral part of this country. In fact, you are unpatriotic if you try to kill the opposition.
The opposition must never die. In this regard, we hail the firm stand that our party leader, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, has taken as Kenya's new paragon of democracy.
The opposition seemingly rattled after the handshake between the two leaders, with Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula being stripped of the leader of minority seat in the Senate and subsequently threatened to ditch the opposition. Political pundits have, however, warned that the political cooperation should not be synonymous to the opposition death, a stand Mudavadi supports.
That you can even support a good idea, but you do not have to force yourself to troop to the government to say that you are supporting that idea.
To govern the country, Jubilee needs the goodwill of all Kenyans. Such goodwill can be enjoyed without opposition parties and leaders scrambling in government.
Given the NASA principal has more than once reassured that his name will be on the ballot as a presidential candidate in 2022, he says there are sticky issues that must be addressed.
There are many issues to talk about. Public debt, which is a big problem, the level of unemployment, the corruption issues, the insecurity in certain parts of this country. So these are very, very serious issues. The lack of food, the lack of medicine in our hospitals, the way we are seeing devolution in certain areas being frustrated.
Mudavadi was speaking while gracing the inauguration of the party's youth wing as he prepares to give a second stab at the presidency. Alan Ochanda for Every TV.
All right, and elsewhere, Isiolo County residents of Ngaramera area have accused the police of harassment and use of excessive force during the just concluded operation to recover stolen livestock. Now, the county's political leaders have faced criticism over their silence about the matter. Dennis Etienne tells us more.
Ngeremara residents have decried police brutality in the area during the operation to recover stolen livestock. The victims lamented that the exercise had caused the local community unbearable pain and questioned why their leaders opted to remain silent as the operation took a toll on them. Veronica Akiru, a victim, said that as a result of massive gunshots and blasts day in, day out, several expectant women suffered miscarriages while their houses were destroyed and livestock taken away, irrespective of whether they were the legitimate owners of the animals or not.
Tumepoteza mali mingi sana. Unakuja kwa boma wakati kwa sababu anatuanzia saa 5. Anatukimbiza ile kuku imebaki nyumbani imeenda, watoto wa mbuzi ndio wameenda.
During a visit by Isiolo County Governor and other county officials to assess the magnitude of damage caused by the operation, the County Governor Mohammed Kuti, however, lashed at the locals for refusing to heed to calls from leaders to produce the livestock, forcing the security teams to carry out the operation in order to recover the animals forcefully.
Kitu muhimu ambaye nimejua kutoka kwa hiyo siku ni kwamba hawa viongozi tuliongea na tulirudi kwa county commissioner tukasema ng'ombe itakuja watu wasipigwe, lakini hakukuwa na dalili yoyote na hiyo ng'ombe. Lazima pia tuseme ukweli, si ndio? Tuliita, tunatuma, hata nilituma facilitation, nikaambia waende waingie huko ndani walete hiyo ng'ombe, at least tuonekane iko dalili. Tulirudi mara nyingi mpaka serikali wakaona sisi ni waongo.
Area residents such as Margaret Lopulo, however, said that the damage caused was unrectifiable, with lives lost and learning in schools paralyzed over a month. She warned the political leaders who abandoned them as atrocities were being committed against the local Turkana community would definitely suffer backlash in their future hunt for votes.
Kama hujadungwa na miba utasikia uchungu. Ndio sisi sasa, lakini tumedungwa, tumesikia uchungu. Usiende kama natoa meno, uende kama nacheka. Saa hii Dr. Kuti, umetinyamasia, unajua sisi hapa tuko na ndege juu.
Jacob Edonga Ahada also accused the government for duping livestock owners in the area to slaughter their animals during the livestock off-take program, claiming that they were yet to receive funds from the government, even after sacrificing their animals. The program was meant to cushion the herders from massive losses as animals died following the persistent drought.
Mwaka 2017 mwezi ya 10 yuko ajuzi serikali analeta. Anasema ng'ombe zenu ama mbuzi zenu anamalizika bila faida. Leteni ng'ombe hiyo ambayo kwa hivyo tujinje tupatie nyinyi pesa ili pate faida badala ya kubaki mzima.
During the operation that lasted for 2 weeks, 3 police officers also lost their lives as cattle rustlers engaged the police, while at least 4 locals were also killed. The county police commander Manasseh Musyoka, who led the operation, is also nursing a gunshot wound as he was shot in the abdomen. Dennis Otieno, Ebru TV.
Now, today being the 3rd day of the International Youth Week leading up to the International Youth Day on the 12th of this month, peace and conflict management and building bridges was the theme of the day. Our reporter Bonareri Samaha sat down with Andrew Franklin, who's a security expert, to talk about the youth and security and file this report.
Youth need safe spaces for their dignity and safety so that they can engage in diverse development processes and activities such as decision-making, productive sectors, and even freely express themselves. However, some youth end up involving themselves in illegitimate activities and jeopardizing their chances of having a productive life. Andrew Franklin, a security expert, elucidates why it is so easy for youth to be drawn to crime.
Well, unemployment is a major driver of crime. Also is having an ineffective, inefficient, often repressive police service or police force. If you look at some of the other topics, the mega scandals, the billions and billions of shillings, tens of millions of dollars that have been stolen. It gives the impression that there's this is lawlessness in the society. We do also know that there's very little accountability for either whatever you do or don't do, especially within the government services.
The security expert says that youth involve themselves in crime because that is the example set by their leaders.
There's also the aspect of, especially when you're looking at crime, is the certainty or the lack of certainty that you will be caught, properly prosecuted, and actually punished. That, in fact, many victims of crime will never even report the crimes to the police because they expect that nothing will be done.
He says that because of the gaps in the justice system, youth are encouraged to break the law.
Given the high rates of unemployment And there's a lot of unemployment among university graduates. We know that. We also know there's unemployment among doctors here, whereas the government brings in doctors from Cuba, and there's 2,000 to 3,000 trained doctors who are unemployed here.
He adds that it is not only the uneducated or less intelligent among the youth who are beguiled to engage in criminal
When
activities.
you look at law school graduates, as the lawyer who led the attack at Garissa University in April 2015, it's not that people who are unemployed are attracted to terrorist causes or nationalist causes. There's no reason why educated people who see inequalities or inequities in the society may in fact say it's hopeless to try to make peaceful changes.
When it comes to radicalization, he says that any youth, whether educated or not, would be drawn to it if unemployment and underemployment prevails.
Well, if you're talking about pastoralist communities, herders and the like, many of them now seem to have been recruited into gangs by politicians. The pastoralist youth are armed with AK-47s and with lots of ammunition. And so as a result, there are no jobs for them. They're somewhere between, primary school and whatever.
He says that politicians and leaders have a hand to play in youth from pastoralist communities engaging in crime. The security expert says that public sensitization is crucial in helping the youth steer away from illegal activities.
There's perhaps an imperfect level of knowledge throughout the society, but you don't need a lot of education to listen to the radio, and we have a lot of vernacular stations now. The news-consuming public in Kenya is huge.
According to him, celebrating the International Youth Day is important, but is not in itself a solution to the numerous challenges facing the youth in the country.
Why declare a day? Why have a week? Why have guests talking about unemployment? It's important, but talking about micro-industries, talking about entrepreneurial spirit. If we had factories making buttons, that would employ young Kenyans. If we had factories making zippers instead of importing them, that would employ young Kenyans. What we don't have here is the formal economy. And we will never have a formal economy unless we build value chains.
He also suggests that the East African community should work together to create employment for youth in the region. When it comes to leaders, he says that they should be held accountable for their actions so as to show a good example to youth.
People who are living large on the treasury, what does that say to the youth in this country? Well, it says, I want to be in parliament, right? We've seen that. I want a helicopter. They see a fifth anniversary party in Kakamega celebrating devolution, where everyone went and spent $3 million US. Where were the jobs? But unfortunately, if you have a population where 60% of the population is under the age of 30, not everyone can be in parliament, and not everyone will own a helicopter. Not everyone is going to be able to dip into the treasury to pay for their lavish lifestyle.
Franklin says that young people end up running for political office for the wrong reasons because of the lavish lifestyles exhibited by leaders. He adds that the leaders should not just promise to make changes, but should actually implement them. The International Youth Day provides a platform for the youth to showcase their role and the impact they can make in their global society and increase their positive contributions to their communities. Bonareri Samaha, Ebru TV.
All right, and that story from Bonareri Samaha importantly brings us to the end of my job this night. So I need to hand it over to our sports anchor, Samuel Wamai, who's already in studio, ready to give you what you need to hear when it comes to Martyrs Sports.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Ebru TV Sports, and I am Samuel Wamai. Now, Kenya has lost one of its best athletes in Nicholas Bett, who helped place the Kenyan flag high in the global map as far as athletics is concerned. Our sports reporter Davis Mberia narrates, the late Nicholas Bett was initially a volleyball player before turning into the track and field maestro.
For Tinsley, who's in a wonderful position.
The sports fraternity is mourning the demise of Nicholas Bett, the 2015 World 400 meters hurdles champion who died today morning in a greasy road accident in Lesos, Nandi County. According to reports, Bet was traveling to see a friend before his vehicle hit a bump and rolled several times, barely 48 hours after returning to the country from Asaba, Nigeria, where he represented the country in the 400 meters hurdles. A race he did not finish due to the injury. Bet pulled out of the 400 meters hurdles final in Asaba after 200 meters with an injury in a race that his brother Aaron Koech won the gold medal in the 400 meters by 4 relay, finished 4th. Nandi Police Commander Patrick Wambani confirmed Bet died after his car veered off the road and landed in a ditch on the Lesos Eldoret Road. He was in high spirits when the team returned from Asaba on Monday night and was looking forward to recover from the injury and competing at the next year's IAAF World Championships in Doha, Qatar, where he looked forward to reclaiming his crown.
Kijana huu ni mtu ambaye tunategemea kwa mambo ya michezo. Nasema pole kwa wasasi, nasema pole kwa watoto wake. Mimi kwa niaba ya wanariadha nasema pole sana.
Kama mimi mwanariadha nasikia uchungu sana. Nikikumbuka tulikuwa tunakuja na yeye kwa ndege. Sasa tulikuwa tunapiga story na yeye, alafu benye pata ya siku moja ukisikia mtu amepoteza mwili ni uchungu sana. So it was so painful.
The 28-year-old broke into the limelight in 2015, where he powered to the gold medal in the Beijing World Championships, where Kenya emerged top of the world. He became the first Kenyan to win the world gold in hurdles after his magnificent run in the championships.
And Clement in second place, and Capello in third.
However, after that, he struggled to replicate his form, and even though injuries did not help his cause, he was looking forward to reclaiming his throne in Doha.
Chips was absolutely hopeless.
Kenya, including government officials, took to social media to condole with the fallen champion family, expressing how he was that valuable and great in the sports fraternity in the country.
For Tinsley, who's in a wonderful position.
Davis Meria, Ebru Sports.
That is sad indeed. Now, moving on, referees handling Kenyan Premier League matches have been warned against incompetence as the 2018 campaign enters the home stretch. The past 21 days, increased cases of poor officiating have been reported to KPL Referees Committee by clubs. United, Bandari FC, Gor Mahia and their rivals AFC Leopards are the most affected victims in this recent past few matches. The KPL Chief of Technical Services, Safety and Security GMT, Otieno, acknowledges the deteriorating level, but accused the Football Kenya Federation of inaction whenever notified on the same. FKF Chief Executive Officer Robert Mudhomi revealed steps have been taken to curb the rampant menace. The past weekend, for example, was marred with controversy in matches staged at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. The Confederation of African Football has announced it has banned 8 Ghanaian match officials from all CAF-related football activities after explosive bribe-taking revelations. Hidden camera footage from undercover Ghanaian journalist Anas Aremayo, released in June, purportedly laid bare a culture of corruption in African football. The International Association of Athletics Federations has outlined that member countries will have a huge task in ensuring that athletes maintain high standards of discipline as well as spearheading the war against doping. The body will also come out with rankings in a bid to rate its members depending on their success in athletics. Yeah? And with that story, that rounds up tonight's edition of Ebru TV Sports and the passing of Bet was very, very sad, wasn't it?
And very drastic. But you know, that's exactly what happens when it comes to martyrs' accidents. You have made your own plans. It's tragic and very impromptu.
True.
Death is sad, naturally.
Yes.
But it's not like, accidents are not like sicknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sad for Kenya, it's sad for the athletes, especially sad for his family.
He was a very young, promising athlete who had already shown us the talent that he had, and he had such a bright future ahead of him, but unfortunately, these things happen.
May he rest in peace.
True.
That pointedly brings us to the end of every primetime news. My co-host over here is Samuel Omai. My name is Nina Shaban. Our sign language interpreter is Joyce Wairimu. Have a blessed night.